So check out what I just picked up from Harley-Davidson headquarters to test for the next couple of weeks. The new Street Glide Ultra, and how good does it look? And don't be fooled, it's not just a street glide with a top box bolted on. There are a few subtle changes that take this already impressive tourer to another level, especially if you like clocking up the miles on those long trips. Now first up, compared to the Ultra Limited and the Road Glide Limited, which have the 114 cubic inch motor, you can see the Street Glide Ultra sports the 117 cubic inch motor, which pumps out around 105 horsepower and 130 foot-pounds of torque. But there's quite a lot of work that's gone into the R&D for the Street Glide Ultra too. Of course, last year, we saw the new Batwing fairing introduced, which was redesigned via computational fluid dynamics, which sounds like a mouthful, but it's basically using computers to simulate and analyse fluid flows, in this case wind. And by doing so, they were able to reduce buffeting by a massive 60%. And the wind flow can also be altered further using the vent below the screen, which makes quite a difference. They also use this same computer process to design the new screen, along with the fairing lowers. Now first up, the screen is about 4 inches taller than the current screen on the Street Glide, and the perfect position for someone of about my height of 5'8", while the fairing lowers do a great job controlling the airflow through the vents, as do the fork-mounted deflectors. You'll also notice that the radiators aren't located in the lower leg fairings anymore, like on the Ultra Limited, as they're now down on the down tubes at the bottom, leaving you with a couple of extra storage compartments, along with the option of taking them off completely. Add to that the tour pack, the heated grips, and the redesigned seat, featuring extra padding and a revised shape for extra comfort, and it's fair to say the new Street Glide Ultra is ready to take you right around Australia in total comfort. I was a little surprised that they haven't added a heel and toe changer, but that's easily fixed with the accessories. And unlike the Ultra and the Road Glide Limited, which have a mix of digital and analog gauges, the Street Glide Ultra has that massive 12.3 inch screen, which we saw introduced on last year's glides, along with the selectable ride modes now, Road, Sport, Rain and Custom, which is a first for any of HD's big dressers. No doubt you would have seen our reviews we've done previously on these ride modes and of course the new screen, but if you didn't, check out the link below and you can go back and have a look. Now that redesigned fairing at the front also houses two 5.25 inch fairing mounted speakers powered by a new 4-channel 200 watt amplifier, which pumps out some serious sound, although it does start to drown out a little once you're out on the open road. One thing you will notice too is the absence of the rear speakers along with the LED lighting on the top box, which we saw on the Road Glide Limited and the Ultra Limited. No doubt it's a mix of money saving and convenience from Harley-Davidson. I say convenience because it's now easier to detach the tour pack as it doesn't have all the wiring for the speakers and the LED lighting like before. Of course, you'll also get the suite of electronics with electronically linked brakes, ABS, traction control and drag torque slip control, which all work in both a straight line and through the corners. Another feature is the vehicle hold control, which can be simply used while sitting on a steep incline and locks the brake while you're in first gear with the clutch in. I've tried it a couple of times to see what it feels like, but I rarely use it. To be honest though, when you look at everything available, it is a great electronics package. But when you compare it with some of the other motorcycles on the market, like let's say the Indian Roadmaster Power Plus, for example, which also features a rear radar to provide blind spot detection, tailgate warnings and rear collision warnings, while many of the latest sport and adventure tourers now feature adaptive cruise control and electronic adjustable suspension. So there's obviously a few additions HD could include, but it's just food for thought, especially when you're planning to invest a lot of money on a tourer like the Street Glide Ultra. Okay, so when it comes to the weight, the big girl is carrying a few less kilos than the Ultra Limited, 23 kilos in fact, tipping the scales at 393 kilos compared to the 416 kilos. Sure, it's still a relatively heavy tourer, but once you're up and cruising, the Street Glide Ultra is as smooth as silk in handling, and performance isn't an issue either, especially with the new 117 Milwaukee-Eight motor. and that impressive torque curve. And that power delivery feels pretty smooth too, and is right there as soon as you twist the throttle, with redline rolling in at 5,500 RPM. But you will find the sweet spot is around 3,000 RPM, especially in sport mode. And the throttle response in sport mode compared to something like the Sportster S or the Lowrider High Output ST, it's not as snatchy and twitchy. The Street Glide Ultra doesn't feel as snatchy and twitchy on the throttle, but you will find that you use road more around town. But I will say sport is great when you get out and you're ripping through the countryside. And I say countryside because I did take it for a quick blast up to Lithgow and onto Orange for the night. And what a ride. It handles like a cracker and feels comfortable, especially with that dual shower emulsion shocks at the rear, which are adjustable for preload in 2 stages. It's easy to do too by simply detaching the right pannier to reveal a threaded collar on the shock that enables you to dial in primary preload for the bike's typical load. Then there's also a hydraulic preload adjuster, which is designed to fine-tune the preload on the fly. The idea is to set sag to accommodate your typical load and then use the remote adjuster to account for up to 60 kilos of difference in load either way. As you can see, the 49mm dual bending valve front suspension has been carried over from the previous Tourers and feels quite sturdy, even under hard braking. And talking about those brakes, the combination of the dual 4-piston axially mounted calipers and 320mm discs at the front with the single 4-piston caliper and the 300mm disc at the rear are quite adequate. I say adequate because they do feel a little spongy and sometimes require a firm squeeze, but they do pull the big girl up smoothly when required. And if they were any stronger, especially being linked, I reckon they'd transfer too much of that energy and weight through to the front end, which naturally would feel pretty bad once you start to feel the fork travel. It really is nimble when it comes to handling though, especially when you're flicking it from side to side through the corners. It holds its line with ease and always feels controllable and well balanced. And when it comes to colorways to choose from, there's quite a variety, along with the option of both black or chrome trim. For the chrome variant, you've got billiard grey, blue burst, vivid black, or whiskey fire and vivid black. While all those colours are also available with the blacked out trim, along with Iron Horse Metallic and Vivid Black or Mystic Shift, which is the one we're testing, and has that chameleon type paint job as it changes colour depending on what angle you're standing on. 1 minute it looks deep purple, while the next it's like a dark shade of blue. Pretty wild if you ask me. And bear in mind though that the premium colourways will set you back a little more, but worth it when you see it in the sunlight. My choice would either be the Mystic Shift or the Blue Burst in chrome. And the Street Glide Ultra is sitting in dealerships right now ready for you to take one for a test ride. You probably won't be able to take it away for a whole weekend or have it for 2 or 3 weeks like I have, but I'm sure you'll be able to line up at least a 2-hour ride to get a good feel of what it's actually like. And trust me, it'll be worth it. If only I had the money in the bank account, come to think of it, I could always sell one of my other bikes, because definitely the Street Glide Ultra is something I could see myself buying. But like I said, always get on down to your local Harley dealership and take one for a test ride yourself.